Hey everyone, we are both back at school now, and we both had a good spring break. But before we get into our, well, I guess more Jack's reaction to every signing and a couple of a mock draft before we get into those things, how was your spring break, Jack?
Yeah, it was awesome. Got to see what my future job will be like a little bit. Did some shadowing of the profession that I am going into, and then just got a lot of relaxation after that. Spent some time with family, so it was good to decompress a little bit. It's always good to break up the semester. How about you? Have a good week?
I made the best of it. I mean, it was a lot of the same things for me. It was hanging out with family and just hanging at my house. I did get to go see the new Captain America movie, which
I've heard mixed reviews.
which for Sam Wilson's first solo film was all right. I would give it like an 8.5 out of 10. There's definitely things that they need to improve on,
Mm-hmm.
but you can't base an actor's uh, ability to act on his first solo film. You need to give him a few solo films. And also, it's Marvel. There's never a bad movie. I mean, okay, there's a few bad, but
And yeah, you.
I'm a Marvel fan, so I will always see Marvel movies in the theaters,
Mm-hmm.
no matter what. Even if people say they suck. And actually, there's another one that I watched, Craven the Hunter. I thought that was actually pretty good. It came out on Netflix like at the beginning of spring break,
Mm-hmm.
and me and my dad were looking for something to watch, and we just decided to put that on, and it was actually fairly good. But it's bombed so bad that they shut down any future projects of it. And
Oh, jeez.
when I saw it, I'm like, this isn't that bad.
Mm-hmm.
I would watch a second one of this because Craven the Hunter
Spider-Man villain.
is a antagonist of Spider-Man, and
Mm-hmm.
I would have liked to see that. You
Mm-hmm.
know, but we'll see what happens with the next Spider-Man film whenever it comes out in a couple of years.
Yeah, who
Uh,
knows?
but let's get into the football part of this. So we did do a live stream, but I forgot to put us in the room, so they couldn't see us both. So let's go over everything. The Bears completely revamped their interior offensive line. In trades with Joe Tooney, did acquisition of Drew Dahlman and
Jonah Jackson.
Jonah Jackson. And honestly, I mean, it's a breath of fresh air, literally, to at least right now seem like we have our starting five of offensive linemen in Braxton Jones, Joe Tooney, Drew Dahlman, Jonah Jackson, and Darnell Wright. I am not ruling out the possibility of possibly taking an offensive tackle in the second round. I don't think they're going to do it in the first round with all of the acquisition that they've made this a couple weeks ago, because I honestly I see Will Campbell as a guard more than a tackle because his arms are too short.
Mm-hmm. I slightly disagree. I think all great moves definitely makes our offensive line go from bottom half of the league to top half of the league pretty quickly in
Absolutely.
terms of production for next year. But I would not rule out them taking an offensive lineman at 10 still. I still think if Membu from Missouri falls, or if they're super high on Kelvin Banks, or if Campbell falls and they're super high on him, just because Tooney's only under contract for this year,
As of
uh,
right now,
as of right now, there's extension rumors galore. So we'll see if that
Mhm.
gets finalized before training camp starts or the draft. But uh, I just think Braxton Jones is a fine tackle, and I feel like we have this conversation every year as Bears fans. A lot of people are split on whether or not Braxton Jones can continue to be the left tackle of the future. I think if the Bears are not sold, I would not rule out taking an offensive lineman at 10 whatsoever, just because while the team is vastly improved for this year, you do have to look at it as the Bears have the next four windows with Caleb Williams, 4 years as a window with Caleb Williams on his
True,
rookie
true.
contract.
But also, I mean, I do not disagree with your statement at all. But also, I do want to bring up the fact that when you look at how bad Braxton Jones was last year, you can't necessarily blame it all on
Oh
him
no, definitely.
because the people that he was playing next to were complete trash. I mean, that's the word that I'm going to use to define it. And when you look at the people that he is now playing next to, I mean, you have an All Pro and a Super Bowl winner next to you at left guard, and you have the best uh, free agent draft or free agent center in the middle to help you with your zone scheme and all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but I mean, I again, I'm not ruling it out. I just I see them possibly taking a edge rusher or a defensive lineman at 10, and maybe getting the Braxton Jones replacement in the second round or maybe the third round. Preferably, I would go second because you have two picks there. I mean, they're essentially back to back. You have 39 and 41. So
Mm-hmm. And it all depends on what player value is at those spots too. Like you
yes,
don't
that's
want to
true.
don't want to reach too high if, in the second round. Like if somebody's best player available and you reach for an offensive lineman, I don't think that's a great decision either. So it's really all
No,
about how the draft
no.
board falls to you.
There is another thing that's kind of weird right now because top 30 visits, should probably pick up in the next week or so. And right now, the Bears only have two confirmed visits,
Yeah, I'm
and
trying to
though,
remember back to like this time last year. I feel like it was around April that we started to hear, like start of
well,
April.
yeah, I
So we
guess.
could be a little bit early.
But as of right now, the two that are confirmed are Aston Genty and Will Campbell. So I mean, two of the best prospects for
Best
sure.
best prospect of their position, respectively, in this draft.
But I did also see a video of uh, Ben Johnson and Dennis Allen attending Michigan's pro day. So I mean, you know, I don't know many guys on the Michigan offense that I'd be looking at.
No, there's no
I
one on their offense team this
I
year
mean, based
besides
on
Kalel Mullings, I guess.
based on the fact that Dennis Allen was shown, I would guess that he's looking at guys like Will Johnson
Mason
or
Graham.
Mason Graham or Kenneth Grant. I mean, I I can't see it where Mason Graham makes it past 5 or 6.
No, but if he's there at 10, you turn
Oh,
your pick right away.
run to the podium,
Uh-huh.
absolutely. But Kenneth Grant at 39 or 41 might not
Mm-hmm.
be a bad.
But the only problem with that is I have seen him sneaking up a little bit in some people's mock drafts.
Well, we'll
We'll
go
address that, yeah.
we'll get into that in a couple minutes. But aside from the offensive line acquisitions that we made, we also signed all of my oh my god I all of my Zacchaeus to a 1 year deal to probably be right now wide receiver 3. I would imagine you know by the end of the draft he's wide receiver 4. We also signed Devin Duvernay to be the punt returner, and then we also signed Grady Jarrett and Deo Adeyingbo. I think that's like
That sounds pretty right.
that's like the second time I've only said his name or as close to right as I can without looking at it. Because when we signed him on the first day of the legal tampering period, I had to look at it to physically pronounce it out. But what are your thoughts on those two guys on defense?
Yeah, I mean, we definitely needed to bolster the pass rushing attack opposite Montez Sweat.
Mm-hmm.
And I think Deo and Grady Jarrett on the inside of the offensive line are really going to provide a
Defensive
little
line.
bit defense. Yeah, I don't know why I said offensive line. Defensive line just provide a little bit more pressure spread out. I think Montez will see a little bit less of a double team rate this year. And I think, like you mentioned, the possibility that we can go defensive line at pick number 10, we could be looking at realistically a completely new defensive line and offensive line outside of the pieces that we really wanted. Like Gervon Dexter will still be a rotational defensive tackle no matter who we get, even if we grab Mason Graham. And then Montez will be there, and then we'll still have Braxton and Darnell. But to have changed 5, potentially 6 of our interior
Absolutely.
trench players, which was where we lost a lot of games last year is definitely an encouraging sign.
Absolutely, and also I think another big thing that's going to help us is the fact that we have one of the best defensive coordinators calling our defense now,
Mm-hmm.
because I'm not gonna say that Matt Eberflus was a bad defensive coordinator. He was just a bad head coach. I mean, he was apparently he was going to be fired by the Colts when he took the Bears job, which I completely understand now, because he was fired from us. But I mean, Dennis Allen has always called great defenses, and while he runs the same scheme as Matt Eberflus, he is a lot more aggressive when calling blitzes and going after the quarterback, which Matt Eberflus was very tentative with.
Mm-hmm.
Which you know, if you want to win, you got to get to the quarterback, no matter who the hell the quarterback is.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if we see Kyler Gordon with like 3 to 5 sacks this year.
Oh yeah, I mean he had, I want to say, at least two
Mm-hmm.
last year, and he's a nickel corner, so he's coming off the nickel spot to sack the quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
And also, I'm very excited to see what Kevin Byard does, because I saw clips again of that like sack fumble that he had on Deshaun Kaiser against the uh, the Packers in the last game of the season, and I can't wait to see that again. Um, I mean, I don't think there's any other signings that
No,
we.
not really. I mean, Zacchaeus has been, like you mentioned, I didn't really touch on him. He's been a good rotational wide receiver for a long
Yeah,
time.
but
Atlanta,
again,
Philly, Washington, like you mentioned, wide receiver 3, wide receiver 4, but at least a veteran target that
yeah,
should make the roster.
yeah, but a kind of cool thing about that is he goes from Jaden Daniels, the number 2 overall pick, to the number 1 overall pick in Caleb Williams. I mean, I don't want to say that there's a possibility that Zacchaeus gets better numbers, because he still had 45 receptions for 506 yards and 3 touchdowns with Jaden Daniels, who runs the ball a lot, but still can, pop the ball out of his arm. So, I mean, I'd, I'd say that my expectations for him would be around the same.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe 450 to 500 for 3 to 5 touchdowns. I
Yeah,
think I think would be.
obviously a little bit different scenario just because I think that DJ and Rome are a little bit better of a 1-2 than Terry and Diami Brown were. Just because
Oh,
Terry
absolutely.
obviously on those guys' level, but Diami Brown, although he played very well towards the end of the year, I wouldn't put him up on those guys.
Well, now Dean Daniels actually has
Debo.
Terry and Debo.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, one thing that I love about our coaching staff is the fact that we have coaches that want our players to play hard, and uh, let's just say that Antoine Randall L isn't going to let anyone slide in
Mm-hmm.
terms of lack of helping,
Yeah.
because I mean he gets on his players. I mean he yelled at I don't remember who it was. Uh, was it Jameson Williams?
It probably was. Jameson's always doing something dumb.
I mean, it was actually against the Bears,
Oh, it was
and
when Jameson fumbled.
I think so.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, it was Jameson.
yeah. I mean, and he just went into him, and it was just, I was like, wow, that guy like really wants to coach, and now he's the assistant head coach with the Bears and wide receiver coach, and I mean, in a few years, I could see him getting another job somewhere else as an
Mm-hmm.
offensive coordinator, and possibly maybe even a head coach before he gets an offensive coordinator role.
Never know.
I mean, uh, Dan Campbell did get the head coach job for the Lions when he was the assistant head coach and tight ends coach before in New Orleans. So that's
It's
nothing is out of
possible.
the realm of
No,
possibilities. I mean, just because you never called plays before doesn't mean you're not going to be a good head coach. As long as you bring in good people to call your offense and call your defense, you don't necessarily have to be the play calling head coach. But I'm glad that we have probably one of the best ones in Ben Johnson. So I think that's going to be all the signings that we talk about. So let's get into the uh, mock drafts here. Um, I have to sign in because it logs me out of this stuff every time, so I have to log in to make sure that I can access the whole
Mm-hmm.
7 rounds, which is totally stupid. But um, all right, so let me before I'll enter before I do this. Let me share my screen here. Yeah, only have one other tab open, which makes sense. Okay, let's see how this goes for us and see how it goes for other teams before us. Okay, okay, all right. So, okay, I'm gonna. So Shadur Sanders went 1. Cam Ward went 2.
I mean, I think they'll go 1-2, not in that order.
Yes,
But
I think it's flipped.
yeah, but
But
for the purposes of us, it doesn't really matter all too
yeah,
much.
Travis Hunter went 3, which honestly I thought he'd go 2 or 4.
Mm-hmm.
Um, uh,
3 I can see, though, with them just signing Jameis for a stopgap quarterback.
oh, that's true.
Mm-hmm.
But do you think he plays fully as a CB or
He'll get some mix in a wide receiver, I think.
like when Dion did
Yeah.
that?
No chance Abdul Carter slides to 5.
No way. If he makes it past 3, he's going to 4.
Yeah, but those two I think will just be flip flop as well.
Interchangeable.
Yeah.
So Mason Graham went 4. Abdul Carter went 5. Again, we think that it's possible that that's interchangeable. Ashton Genty went 6, which makes complete sense with the Raiders trading for Geno Smith and making him the stopgap quarterback for at least this year.
Mm-hmm.
Will Campbell goes 7. I could definitely see that.
Tat goes 8.
Tat goes 8, which I mean
makes sense. They need an alpha wide receiver.
I honestly though, this is just a mock draft, so the actual draft could be totally different. And if there's another team that desperately needs him, I mean, it's the Patriots.
Mm-hmm. Honestly, I think it's hard to draft a wide receiver that high when it's not like a Marvin Harrison Jr. like generational. But we'll see.
We'll see. We'll see. Matthew Golden goes to the Tech or the Saints.
Yeah, I
the
haven't
Saints.
Seen him mock that
I haven't seen him mock that high since I started doing these. So
had a great 40, but
yeah, but that doesn't mean that.
no.
Okay, so I mean, I'm hoping that you guys can see this. You know, we don't need a corner. But I actually have seen people say that Tyler Warren is like the perfect person for Ben Johnson's offense.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not necessarily saying that I would go with that at that spot. I mean, you still got Membu available. If that's how you say. I mean, that's how you say. That's how you say his name, right?
I believe so.
I mean, is that someone that you would consider or?
See, I think, like, I understand the Tyler Warren pick, but I think I would go Membu personally, or trade back in the spot if this is how it fell.
Well, there's no
trades
of it, so
I think that's how it's going to be on the actual draft day.
Yeah, yeah. Because usually when there are people that are willing to trade, there'll be like a number here of people that are willing to do it.
But why don't we try? Because we're going to do 2 mock drafts, right?
Yeah, we can do that.
So why don't we try Tyler Warren this time and see if we can get an offensive tackle later and see how that would work out.
Okay, yeah, sure.
And then for next time, if we do it again and Membu's there, we can take that and see how that would change it.
Sure. All right, so we're taking Tyler Warren, and actually, when I did this by myself a couple days ago, damn it, Tyler Booker went a pick before. Actually, when I did this, he went to the Packers at 23.
Yeah, and see, there's Kenneth Grant. Like I said, I think he might go a little bit higher than people are anticipating.
Oh, absolutely. I'm not.
Yeah, no.
All right, so let's look. I mean, let's look at offensive tackles, but I don't necessarily. Actually, this is a guy that I would take.
Yeah, and I think Donovan Jackson's probably there too still.
Yes, but actually, I've also seen him.
Way later.
Well, not later, but going to a guard.
Mm.
And I mean, we need a tackle.
Yeah, well, I think this works out perfectly for what we were saying. Like, see if we can get a tackle in round 2. So
yeah, I take this.
If he's there, then
I'd take
I
this
think the
at
Bears would
that
do the
point.
same thing.
Oops, I did not mean to show that, but I meant to press draft. Um, all right, I'm gonna look at edge here and see if there's any edges that we could look at because I mean I know we did sign
Which
Dale Adenibo, but that's I'd still try to get a good third guy to be a
I
backup.
mean, Landon Jackson tested amazingly at the combine, and then Princely, I feel like it's a guy we've ended up with a lot in a lot of mock drafts.
Yeah, so why don't we mix it up a little bit?
Go Landon Jackson.
Actually, funny thing, his comparison is Dale Adenibo.
Oh, is it really?
Yeah, it's funny. So let's do that. And if he's available in the next one that we do, we'll take Princely. But I want to do one where it's not necessarily the same people. So we've messed.
So what is wrong with Demetrius Knight? Because why is he the 33rd ranked prospect and he's available at 72 in this mock draft?
I don't know. I mean, I'm actually looking at his stats to see if there's any like thing that stands out that makes sense to why he's falling. Because I mean, his 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 grade in his first year at college was bad, but that's because it's his first year at college. I mean, and then I mean, you look at 23 and 24. I mean, they vastly improved. I mean, what do you see? I mean,
I don't see anything
missed
glaringly.
tackles maybe, but
I mean, that's hard. Defensive linemen or linebackers are always going to have a decent number of missed tackles just because they're involved in
that's
so
true.
many.
I mean,
I don't. The only problem is, though, I don't know if we need a linebacker.
I don't.
Then
Well,
again, like I said,
I mean, maybe we don't need a linebacker right now,
but best player
maybe,
available sometimes is just what you got to do.
yeah. But let's see if there's any. We haven't taken a running back yet.
True.
We might need to.
RJ Harvey, yeah.
Damn it!
All
we missed
of the
on
blue chip guys
we
are kind of gone.
Yeah, where did I want to see where Hampton went?
Hampton went in the first round. I saw.
Oh, actually, that makes sense. Henderson would have been one guy that I would have thought about here. I don't know who to take.
I mean, RJ Harvey had a great year, but I don't know how much of a pro prospect he is. Like athleticism doesn't really jump off the board.
Right. I mean, we could take him just because we need to, but again, we don't know. Maybe next time we take,
somebody in round two,
someone in round two. I would assume that the linebacker was taken at some point after us. Actually, I want to actually look at where he was. South Carolina, right? Something like that.
But it was like a pick after us.
I wouldn't be surprised if that. I wish you could search it. Like you could search it at certain points, or on certain websites, but not this one, I guess. Wow, Jonah. However you say that, I'm not gonna say that because I can't say it correctly.
Savaianea.
I mean, he lasted a lot longer than I thought he would. I thought he would be a second round prospect. Keep going. Yeah, I mean, I would imagine it's. Yep, there was the pick after.
Right after.
Yep. That makes complete sense. So let's get back to this. I mean, we're at 148, and I mean, this is the point where you just honestly start taking flyers, right?
Yeah, take wide receiver that you like some aspect of him, or.
I mean, we've heard good things about Nick Nash.
Obviously, just a very high productive player in college.
I mean, that is like 20 spots high, but I mean, I don't think there's.
When you get down this far, it kind of muddies the waters.
Yeah, I'm gonna take Nick Nash because he was very productive in college. Again, of course, it was against not great
competition,
defensive talent, but I mean, you're taking flyers at this point, so it doesn't matter. I mean, would you take a backup tight end?
Probably not if we have.
Actually, what am I saying? What am I saying? I forgot that we took Warren. Jeez.
Yeah.
So I would actually like just honestly go for yeah. Oh, you know what? I I kind of want to take Joshua Gray because our assistant line coach did coach him
Okay,
uh,
yeah,
in college,
I like it.
and then the last pick I might look at safety
Yeah, it's
just for
position
a
we need.
just for a backup for Brisker because I mean the dude has had like 7 concussions, so it's not
Yeah,
great.
and when you get this far down the draft, I have no idea about any
Yeah,
of these
you
guys.
literally like the clock starts in the honestly your clock doesn't even start. It just it's just like you just take whoever you want at that
Mm.
point. So okay, so see one of the things that I don't like about the paying like for the whole thing to for the whole 7 rounds of PFF mock draft is it tells you who you should have drafted in the if you like if there was a player that was ranked higher than the player you took, it'll say you should have drafted this player at this spot instead of this player. I mean, we don't need a corner, so I don't really care about what this says.
Uh,
And I mean, I mean, if you look at our draft, I mean, okay, so Tyler Warren, I mean, I took him honestly because of the fact that there was an article that I read that said Tyler Warren and Ben Johnson are like the perfect
mm,
match. I mean, I really like Josh Connery. I think he could definitely bring in some competition for Braxton. Like I said, Landon Jackson was his pro comp was Deo Adeyingbo, so I thought that was kind of a perfect spot there, and we got an A- for that. I don't know much about RJ Harvey. Sorry if he ever watches this, and if you end up a Bear, I'll support you, but I don't
he
know.
was he was like a top 10 Heisman guy for a while this season.
Nick Nash, we got a D+ on, but that's because we took him 20 spots early. But he definitely was a high productive player. Joshua Gray, I kind of took at this spot just because of the fact that we did hire his old line coach to be our assistant line coach. So I mean, I think that since he knows Joshua, that it would be a good idea to kind of get him a player that he knows and has already coached. Honestly, we probably could have gotten him at 240 because when you look at Hunter Wolier,
Roller.
Wohler or something, however you say that, we got an A- because we took him at 240 and he was ranked 237. I don't know how taking a player at 240 and being ranked 237 ranks an A-, but I'll take it.
Mm,
Um, and then I mean, so we got an overall B grade for this draft. I mean, we probably took a running back a little too late.
mm-hmm.
Uh, took a wide receiver too early. Uh, but I mean, most of this draft I like.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I definitely think our first 3 picks are the most important.
Yeah, and I think all those guys would, if
The
not immediately contribute. Connerly might sit behind Braxton for a little bit, but the other two I think would immediately
if
contribute.
Connerly sits behind Braxton, for a time next season, I would imagine maybe half the season.
Mm-hmm.
If he gives up, a couple of, if he gives up like 5 to 8 sacks, Braxton, by week, 10 or something. See if Connerly can come in and
Do a
be
little better.
do a little bit better. And honestly, and having guys like uh, Tooney and Jonah Jackson and Dahlman might help him.
For sure.
To coach him up before he gets his shot in the in the league. And let's just do a new one, and then we'll end this off. See how different this is in this one. I'm not gonna worry about putting a different website on here because Uh, I did use a couple of different websites.
I was going to do the same
Is
thing.
it gonna be the same?
No, a little different, I guess. Same guys went.
Yeah,
Just
I mean the
different
same
order.
guys went, but like different order.
Well, let's try. Well, I mean, it's kind of what we were hoping for. Let's try drafting Membu now, maybe, and see if
Sure,
how that'll end up.
sure. Actually, I agree with you that. So we'll take Membu here. I mean, I'm not gonna go over the picks
Yeah.
before us because there's no.
There's our boy
Should
McKnight
we just
or Demetrius Knight.
should
Who else?
we?
Well, who else is there? Or
Well,
just scroll down a little bit and best players
oh,
available
oh,
and see.
yeah.
Tyler Williams, someone
I've seen him be
Mhm.
drafted.
but he could also be there at 41.
I mean,
What running back? Because I mean,
yeah.
we were kind of upset that we didn't get a running
Let's
back
look at
last
that.
time.
I think that's important to look at.
So
Oh,
Judge, so
oh, really? Hampton and well, Genty went before.
is Travion below Sampson? I'm assuming.
Uh,
Yeah, there he is.
yeah.
See, this is like, could we trade back from 41 and get a little, like an extra pick, and then draft one of these guys
We
later?
could look. We could.
Yeah,
We could
well,
try.
Maybe we go that linebacker at this
Just
pick, and then
because he's there.
yeah,
Again, this is not. This.
or we can go take Tyleek as well, just defense. I think.
Yeah, we do need defensive line more than
Mhm.
linebacker. So let's actually take Williams and see how that goes. I mean, that's why was I expecting that? So you want
Is
to
there
see?
any
Okay,
trades? Yeah.
let's see.
But I don't want to go out of the second round.
Right. Well,
What are they offering?
well, we have to pick it. That's. I mean, okay. Let's do that. Let's see if they'll give us 44 and 76 for.
Well, then we'd be we'd be
Okay.
down both spots.
Yeah, that
Maybe
would.
41 and 148 or something.
Well. Oh wait,
Trade
I didn't.
41.
I didn't do
No.
that. That's
Maybe instead of 76, go like 44 and a future fourth or something for
a future fourth.
yeah.
Okay, actually, that's fine.
For
I mean,
41, and then don't give up 148
Oh,
and see if that'll just do 41. Yeah.
okay, that's
Yeah.
fine. Yeah, I'll take that.
So you get a future fourth. Only running back who went between where
Was
we picked was Caleb Johnson.
Caleb Johnson,
So we can still take anyone we want. Besides that,
linebacker. Let's just.
I kind of want to go Judkins a little bit.
You want to go here or net? Well,
Won't be
actually,
there at 72.
so
It'd be
yeah,
a bit of a
let's-
reach,
let's-
but I think
let's just do it. Let's
got
do it.
recouped an extra fourth. Still got the running back we wanted.
Right. I mean, I like both of these guys, but I'll take Junkins because I do know that Ohio State does produce a lot of good running backs. Honestly, aside from what's his name,
Zeke,
Ezekiel Elliott, who else?
Carlos Hyde had a decent career. J.K. Dobbins when he's healthy.
Okay. What position?
Safety, wide receiver, edge. I think are our three main.
Let's go. Let's look at edge right now, and then we'll go like safety. At 148 or something.
Okay. So I just don't know much about any of these
I
guys.
don't know either.
How about wide receiver? Who's here at wide receiver?
Let's
Or
look
safety?
at that. I've heard good things about Trey Harris. He's got good speed.
Yeah, not a huge productivity guy in college, but
Speed
great
guy.
measurables. I wouldn't hate that.
Well, let's look at his stats a little bit.
I mean,
so
PFF grades were
it's pretty good.
What am I talking about? Low production. He had over 1,000 yards last year.
And I mean, 25 touchdowns.
Oh, shit.
That's
Draft.
All right. I mean, I think in one of the mock drafts I did, I took him.
Mm-hmm.
I actually think it might have been with this one or with this website. With this website. So I'm gonna look at. I'd look at safety
and edge.
Or, let's look at edge first.
Okay.
Because that's probably the bigger.
Doesn't seem like there's anybody great here.
All right, let's look at safety.
I feel like at this point, you just
Just
gotta
just
take
do
best play.
what the
Yeah, whatever the best player available is out of the
out of those two.
Upton Stout.
Let's see. I'm looking at. I want to see his. So he's a safety.
He's got a really good run defense
Which
grade.
which is what we need. I mean, we need a good run defense. But see, the weird thing about this is, of all these stats, what's the one that's missing? That's really important.
Uh,
I mean, I think interceptions should be in here somewhere.
mm-hmm. I think the thing that's probably dragging him down is his level of competition. Like his worst game of the year was against Bama by far.
Well, I mean, he went to
Western Kentucky.
Western Kentucky. I don't even know why Western Kentucky would be playing Alabama.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm not gonna look at anyone else because I mean, 165 to 190. That's a huge.
So we can always go the edge guy or Stout. I think it's just whatever guy has a better.
I mean, I don't know much about any of the edges. I don't know much about Stout either. But I mean, 140. He's ranked at 143, and then we're at 148. I mean, that's not too much of a reach in my first. Let's look at his stats here. 19 sacks. It's not bad.
Yeah, 10 sacks last year. I mean, that's pretty. High production.
I mean, Miami does. I mean, they do produce some good people.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they got. I mean, I'm a little sad that I never got to see Dwayne Johnson in the NFL a little bit, but that's because of Warren Sapp. I'm gonna take this guy and then just take a safety at 233 because
maybe Stout will still be there. Never know.
That'd be lucky, but let's go look.
There's Hunter Wooler, who we took last time. We just want to pick ahead of us.
Oh, okay. Yeah, nope. I've actually heard really good things about this guy,
Malachi Moore.
And I mean, he's from Alabama.
Draft him.
All right. I mean, he was like taken right at this place that we needed.
Forgot we had a pick left.
We didn't.
Theo Weiss, just throw him in there.
We haven't looked at wide receiver, right? Or wait, actually,
we took someone.
We did. Okay, but at this point, it doesn't matter.
I like Theo Weiss. Kyron Lacey. No, he's got like legal troubles. Don't take it.
Yeah, I would have liked to take Pat Bryant, but he went too early.
He goes in a funny spot where the Bears can never really get him.
Yeah, and honestly, this would be probably like the wide receiver 6, so there's not really a reason to actually look at it. I'm just gonna take it. Let's see how this one gets drafted. Yeah, okay.
We know.
We know. We don't care. You told us to take a different player at 10 that we don't need. I mean, we got an A- for Membu, which I would totally agree with. We got an A for Tykel Williams. I would have liked to see them grade this trade, honestly, but I mean, I don't
getting an extra round 4 pick to move up only move back 3 spots and get the guy we wanted was, I thought, a pretty good move.
And I mean, we took him, 9 picks early, apparently.
But that's all subjective.
It's not just because a player is ranked at a certain spot at 53 or any other number doesn't mean that that's where they should actually be drafted.
Mm-hmm.
I think both of these picks, are definitely would work out better than what the grade the grade gives us. I don't know much about Tyler Barron. He was the best edge available, and I mean we got a B+ for it. Macaulay Moore. We needed a safety for just as a precaution for Brisker, and we got a B+ on it. So I'm not mad at that for a 7th round draft pick. And Theo Weiss again at this point, just take whoever you want.
Receiver competition, yeah.
So I mean, I should have taken a picture of the.
We got a B on the last.
We got a B on the last. Okay,
and it was top 49%.
Oh, so we got top 43 this time and a B+. So
yep. A little bit
A
better.
little bit better.
PFF likes us taking. I
Uh,
mean, clearly it likes us taking a tackle a little bit better because I think Tyler Warren only got a B, even though
yes, yes,
he
he
was
did.
higher on the PFF big board, but obviously for our positional need, PFF does not think that was a
But
wise choice.
it also said we should have drafted Landon Jackson over Quinshon
And
Junkins,
I'm
but
sure if we did that, then it would probably have given us like an A.
an A or A minus.
Yeah.
But honestly, with Ben Johnson, we needed a two head monster with running backs, and while us Bears fans are probably a little bit worried about how Johnson will use Swift in Chicago. He did, high praise him at the combine and,
Mm-hmm.
and,
And
and
I,
was happy to be back with him. So I do not think that they will trade uh, DeAndre Swift unless he absolutely bombs.
yeah, and as for picking Judkins over Landon Jackson, I think passing on Jackson is okay in this scenario because you got Tyleik Williams, so you have Tyleik Williams, Grady Jarrett, Andrew Billings, and Javon Dexter on the defensive interior, and then you still have Austin Booker, Deo, and Montez Sweat on the edge rusher spot for the Bears. So I think
Yes.
even though we would pass on a little bit of a higher rated prospect in this case scenario, I think it would be better suited for the Bears' chances
Yes,
next year.
and I mean, again, we're at the point where we're still kind of guessing on how the draft will go, and personally, I would say that this is a very successful draft.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, with what the Bears did in free agency, it gives them the opportunity to do whatever the hell they want, and
Mm-hmm.
I mean, at essentially every position because I mean the biggest needs that they needed coming into free agency after Ben Johnson was hired was taken care of before free agency technically.
Tampering period still, yeah.
So I mean, I think either of the drafts that we did in PFF would have been very Bears fans would have been very happy with. I'm gonna stop sharing because there's no reason to share anymore. But I mean, I think that's everything. When I did this, I did use different websites, so it wasn't
Same,
the
yeah.
same. But I wasn't gonna worry about making Jack know because the thing about when you use different websites, players are ranked at different spots.
Mm-hmm.
So like in one of the ones I did, uh, I think I can't remember, but like players were like ranked lower than
Mm-hmm.
they were on PFF, and in my personal opinion, PFF is the one that's the most accurate.
Yeah,
So
they're definitely the most reputable.
so um so we'll have an episode next Monday where we actually will have a more of a plan to talk about stuff because actually this was unscripted. I didn't write a script for this. But we had since Jack didn't get to voice his opinions on the signings that we made, on free agency day because I didn't put us in the recording room. My mistake. Um, we kind of knew what we needed to talk about, and I just added the mock draft so we could have a little bit of stuff that wasn't on the free agency part of it. So I mean, we'll see you guys next week, and hope you guys enjoyed this episode.
See everybody.